Well, hello YouTubers. Have I got some exciting news for you today. Finally, the 10,000 subscriber day got here, and I'm announcing my 10,000 subscriber giveaway today. And there's going to be more information given in this video, including a word that you're going to use in the comment to be eligible for the drawing and all that kind of stuff, be randomly selected. So you look for that later on this video. I'm doing another snake today. It's not going to be the same as the other snake video I had. It's another no carving snake, so there's no carving whatsoever on this. I have a brand new method for you because I wouldn't do you that way. I wouldn't put two on there with the same process. That would be very disappointing. I want to show you how I did this one. This one is oodles better than the other method. And all the rubber bands and stuff is gone. Stay tuned and let's get together and let me show you how to do this. So let's get started right now. We're getting ready to knock the rough spots and the snags off of this stick. I have my dust collector on this angle grinder. I am using a very aggressive 4.5 inch disc. I'll just turn my vacuum on to have the holes hooked up to that, and that takes care of about 90% of the dust, 95% of the dust. But all I'm going to do now is knock these, where these limbs has come out here and got kind of heavy on there. All I'm going to do is knock those off, and then we'll go to the 150 grit and or go to a different grinder. Now I'm going to get a less aggressive with it. I'll show you this if I can. See how that underbark there is real tight against there. See how rough it is right there. It's just too tight against the inner part of the wood. And you see I'm only going about 6-7 inches at a time, but still it's important not to start and then take off. Be moving when you touch down, and you won't leave a lot of nicks in it that way. So let's get on with it, get that finished up and see what it looks like. Now we're going to do an orbital sander, 150 grit on this. We're going to polish this up real slick. We're going to finish up the sanding on this stick. Now what I did with this one was I used pickled oak, and that was from Minwax, but I'm going to tell you right now, don't ever use it. It dries with white splotches all over it. Now it's white when it goes on. You think, boy, what's that going to look like? Maybe it'll dry all right, but it's kind of white in the can. So, well, it'll do something to it. And it dried all right, but it left some white splotches, dry, perfectly dry. I had to sand them all back again. Now I'm going to try to cover it off. But that was pickled oak, and I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. I want to let you know. But now this is a gun stock. That's the name of this. It don't look like the golden oak stain. It has more of a reddish cast to it, but the gun stocks are not red, of course. So let's see what that does to it. We might like it, we might not. If I sanded this, as much of that white spots out as I could, I might like this. Haven't used it on a walking stick, but it's soaking in real well. Looks like it's going to dry pretty decent. I think it's going to turn out quite lovely. I'm going to go back and hang it up now, and we'll take a better look at it tomorrow. I'm going to show you real quick how I put a ball on the end of this stick. Put a convex surface in the top of the stick. That way the ball fits right down in there, and then we go over later on how I secure it to the stick. But right now I want to show you how I do that concave cut in here. And that's with a 1-inch ball. I always use a 1-inch ball from Cuts-All. It's a very aggressive, don't take long to do it. And I'll start it, and I'll show you what I do. It don't take long. What I'll do is gently push it in, get it started, and I'll try to go and get a I'll go here until I get just a kind of almost sharp corner all the way around that stick. Now see, this is almost sharp. I'll have to take sandpaper now, just level that out, take the very edge off of it all, and it'll be ready for that ball just to sit right in there. Now, on the bench you can see, has the stick that the ball is going to go into, and it fits real nice in that concave surface we made. And it's going to glue in there without anything around it because it fits right down on the top. What I want to do is set that aside for right now because we're going to find center here, and we're just going to drill another hole just down as center as we can get it and drill that. Now we got that 1/4, 3/8 deep. The dowel pin now will go into that and go right down into that. So I'm going to bring a dowel pin over here and stick it down on there. And we stick this one on there. Oh, okay. That should leave us some space in there. That won't go down. That's not down on there like it should be. So what we'll do is, that's why it requires a sharp pencil. Now we'll go down in here and we'll make a mark where that comes out to. Now we know the depth of that one, right? So we'll take the ball that we drilled a hole in and we'll stick it in there. Now we make a mark down to where it comes out of the hole, right there. Now with that mark, that tells us how long we want to make the dowel. So there's that measurement in there is the measurement that we have to cut off to make it the perfect length. And I take just slightly more than that. So I'm going to get that measured up, cut it off, and we'll come back and get it set in there. Dowel pin cut now, according to the measurements. That should go in and just bottom out just about. And it does. That goes on there. And I can stick it up. That's against the bottom surface and it's not in there. I can wiggle it around. It goes down in there. And that sits perfectly on top. So we're ready now for the glue. Stick this dowel in here so we don't lose it. This time I'm going to put it in a paper cup. Then that little deal don't try to roll off the table. And what you want to do, you don't want to glue it all on this in place. That has to be after all the finish is done. I'm going to be painting this king cobra snake. Try to get it some realistic colors. And I have a little palette laid out here that I'm going to mix some paint. I want to cover that green, but we're going to experiment around with some colors here. We'll be back when we get it all painted and dried. I'm going to show you today how I get this cobra on a stick. I do have another video where there's a black snake wrapped on a stick. It also don't require any carving, so let's go with this one. And you see this one has a slight curve this way. When you have a curve in the stick, carry it with that curve forward, you'll have a good comfortable grip. Now with that being the front, that snake's head is going to be on the front of it. I'll show you the position we've got to get that in. Now start to finish, this is how we're going to do it. I want the head to be facing out in front of the person that's carrying the stick. So what we have to do is clamp that to where that'll stay in that position instead of falling over like that. You see me down here on this end, I'm going to clamp it to the table and I'm going to have it sticking up this way. That's going to hold it up in that position where we want it. Now, the front of the stick is up here. So that's where we're going to start. Now on my other video, the first one I made, or experimented with this, I attached, mixed some AB glue and all that, and then I smeared it on there and I took rubber bands and it was just a mess. hard to do. This is the simplified method. Get a hold of some medium CA glue. I don't care what brand you get, it's all about the same. Now what I'll do first, and I'm gonna put his head around, it's got a curl in it, see, like this. The rubber cobra that you'll get, the head sticks up something like that. So to make that stand up, it won't actually stick up like a cobra's head sticking out, but it is gonna go, we're gonna twist it around a little bit. But we're gonna start with gluing it right here. We'll do that by taking a pencil, and I want to mark where the center of that head's going to be, right in there. And there's where I want my first glue. Don't worry about the rest of the snake. The snake's going to twirl around this way. I'm going to twist it and eventually get that body around there. He's got his head popped up there the way he belongs. Now I'm going to put some CA glue. I know right behind the head here is where I'm going to put the accelerator. First, we're going to put a little CA glue right there. Yeah, a little spot right there. With the CA glue, you also got to have a can of some kind of accelerator. Now, I got a link down below for some and the CA glue too to make it easy. Don't worry about the commission. I get a very little commission off of it, but that's not what I'm here to do. Here's the spray, and I want to spray the back of that snake just a little bit. I've got accelerator on there now. What that accelerator does is have that dry instantly when it touches. So turn it around here, put it right down on your glue, and hold it just a second. And see that snake is coming around all swelled up. See that colorful neck? And I have been in areas of Asia where there are lots of cobras, and I've saw live cobras, and I know that most of them, they have different colors, decorations on their neck. Underneath, when they flare out, they're very colorful, some of them are. Now, I don't know if that's male or female, but obviously it's something. Now that is already dry, and that snake is staying up there by itself, as you can see. And when they flare up, they show their underbelly, and they show that colorful area under there, and I'll show you that a little later. But what the next thing you want to do is get some CA glue back and under here, and start curling around. But what I'll do is hold that down like that, and then I take some accelerator, and I barely hit that with some accelerator, and it dries almost instantly on there. Hold it just a little bit, and we'll have that dry in a second. That's already got it. You see how fast that is? No rubber bands, no nothing. The CA glue is the trick to this. Now what we can do, that's glued down solid. It's coming around, and what I'm going to do is start twisting it now to get the belly back down, and it's the kind of thing like he's up there and he's reared up for a little bit. Now what we'll do is we twist this around and get the belly down here, and want to stick it right there with the back up. Just the belly is glued down to that stick now. And that's about where we want the next batch of CA glue. So I'm going to take the clamp off of it now so it can be turned, and let it go where it wants to. I think I'll keep that up there for a while. Maybe. Yeah. And what I'm going to do is twist that around, and I know where we want to get the glue. So I'm going to take it now, put a little CA glue right on that spot where it's going to touch down here. And then it's going to be on its underbelly. So what I want to do is pull this back and get some accelerator right on the belly of where that glue is going to touch. and we go right around like that. Now we've got the belly glued down and it's starting its twist. Now we're going to hold that just a second, and that's already on there. I think with that CA has got it already nailed right down to that, see? So now you've already started and got the back up, and you've got the, see, he started around with his twist right there. So now you just go right on down the stick the same way, and we'll lift it up a little bit, put a little bit of glue down the head of it, and keep that white belly down as much as possible. And here he goes. Put your CA glue down first, right there. And I'm going to spray this again. And we'll come around, and where that will fit down there is what we're going to get. We've almost made one turn around it already. That is already glued in there. If it ain't, we give it another little shot. That's already solid. That's going to hold it where we put it that time. Right there. You see it's already glued down there. The accelerator, we want the accelerator on that belly. It'll dry in a few seconds. I'd give it 5 seconds, but if you get it just right with that accelerator, it's almost instant. And I believe now it won't come back up. We were going to come to and keep putting the CA glue to it, right where you want it curled. We want to put the accelerator again, and the white belly is the key to it, and we'll hold it. Don't try to stretch the snake in it, because it wants to pull its rubber apart, so just let it be relaxed and go around there. Don't try to stretch the rubber, because the rubber will try to pull the glue loose. So at the end of my thumb, I have some kind of a, where you're putting this stuff. Now right there's where I got the accelerator. And you got to be careful not to stretch the snake at all. Leave the rubber where it wants to go. More, I'm going to go right there. The end of my thumb, you can roll that belly around, get the accelerator, and don't get it on your glue yet, because it will dry it. And just go right there and hold that a little bit, and we're coming right on around. We're gonna cover the whole thing with epoxy resin. Don't worry about with that rubber being soft, about it cracking. It don't happen. The snake will still feel about as pliable as it is when you put it on here. It don't make the snake hard, and which is amazing, but I've tested that and I know what I'm talking about. I'm going to put more accelerator right on the underneath part there. And once again, we touch it down right there. And we got it pretty well there. Now we got just a little bit of tail here. I'm going to mark that kind of with the pencil there. Now then, I'm going to put the glue on the rest of it there. Right down where I got that pencil. It's hard not to glue yourself to it, but I think I got it fastened down there. And if there's a little drop glue over to the side, I would wipe it off. Now, we have got it completely wrapped down there. Now, if you look back here, you can see I think there's a little bit of belly that didn't get down there. I want more of that belly down on there. See, like that. So what I'm going to do is put some more glue in that area all the way around. And I'll put a little bit of glue right around in that belly area, in that little pocket right there. Then I'm going to stick the snake, roll it around a little bit, and I'm going to hold it right there. And if you can, this is just a little cold. It don't hurt to get it on the skin too much. I'll put a little helper on that, and that will hide that belly even more. Spray a little accelerator on it, give it 5 seconds, and that is held down there. Okay, just a little bit right there and we'll have it. It can show a little bit, it won't hurt, but you want to make sure that a lot of that white don't show. I'm going to go ahead and do all that all the way up, and then we'll be back and see what it looks like. Okay, we have this snake is all dried up here, and we're ready to put the clear epoxy on it. I didn't show all the mixing, but I have enough amount of clear mixed in these cups. It's all stirred up and ready to apply. I have a hook on the top of this stick because we want any drainage to come down. We don't want any little drips on the end of its face or down here anywhere. I don't think there'll be any, but in case they are, you want to hang it right side up or whatever direction you want the epoxy to puddle, if it does at all. But I want to come on down, cover the snake completely, everything with epoxy, and I'll just put that right on with a brush, just like this, all the way down. And you'll see I'll be able to get that snake covered. That will give that snake a glossy finish. It'll make it look like a snake. And the stick will be preserved really well also. Get the snake head covered good and come right on down with it. Don't have to be thick at all, just so it's all covered. Matter of fact, I don't want it too thick to start with. Also, I want to mention, this is the 10,000 subscribers giveaway celebration. I'm announcing it right now. Use the word Jesus in a comment, and that's what my random generator is going to look for, and that's going to be the secret word that you have to use in a comment to be eligible to pick out one stick out of 5 to be mailed to your home. This time make it United States and Canada. See how that works out. I can't send it completely international yet, but I'm working on that. That will include Hawaii and Alaska, outside the continent itself. My Canadian friends, you're eligible for this. You just put your name in the hat. Next Saturday, well, I'll tell you more about that at the end of the video. But I'll get on down, you see, by painting this stick with this resin. You notice I have rubber gloves on. Now what you're going to see me do, I wipe this stuff on. And I just pour me a handful right out in a rubber glove, and I go to wiping. And I'll wipe that down the stick this way. That covers it real well. Bring the other hand down. I'll get some more in that glove, and we're going to get it covered. I'll have to go in the back room and get it hanging, and then I'm going to go right down like that, and I'll see you in the morning. Okay, here I am back with the stick all dried, and everything's looking good. And you know, I said I had a hook up here, and I hang it right side up. Normally I hang them up from the bottom, but I did that when you're using resin because sometimes you get this little drip on the end. See, as the epoxy dries before it gets hard, it'll come down just a little bit. All I do is just cut that off. Had I hung it upside down, I might have got that on the end of the snake. Now what I'm going to do is find a place here. This is where about your hand grip is going to be. Pretty comfortable right there in that area. So what I want to do is drill a hole right here. Drill it where it don't come out on the other side into the snake. It'd come out on this side where it missed the snake, and I'll show how we put the wrist strap on here after a minute. What we do next, we already drilled this hole in the end, and we've already drilled a hole in our ball. And now we're going to take some JB clear weld, and I'm going to mix some of that. And what we do is put a couple bubbles down there, and then you just give it a good mix well. So that's fine right there. Take this ball and put a little bit of that right in around the surface of that, and we'll stick this pre-fitted dowel right in the ball, and I'm going to set it aside for a minute. And you just got to make sure this is up far enough to where the epoxy don't just run back out at you, and you want to make sure that it's the whole concave surface in there, including some in the hole, is covered good. So now all we do is take this and we push that right down on top. And if you want to, you can look and see where it did touch down. So we're fine with that. Now all we do is let this dry. Then we'll come back and get a wrist strap on it. We'll be done with that little project. Okay, here we are back. We have the sphere on the top is all glued and solid. All we need is a wrist strap. And the wrist strap on these are going to be a lot different on your snake sticks. Cut you off about 3 foot. I just happen to have about a 3-foot section of scrap left over here. And today I'm using a black paracord, 5/32. And I cut the frayed end off, have a little nylon coming out the end there. And I take my nippers and I just cut that off. And then I fuse it with my lighter here. And once I do that, I pull across it real fast because it's hot. And I pull it out to where that ball don't interfere with it going in a hole. But I do that on one end to start with, and then we drill this other hole. 3/16 is 5/32. So what I do now is shove that in that hole. I've got that. Now all we do is get these ends even, roughly even, and pull this up like so. Now we just tie our shoe here with just a simple overhead knot, and I want to tie that again, and that is a square knot. The square knot is a very distinct knot. It's not a nighttime class, but this is the square knot that you need, and that's on this side of the snake. This way you have a hole, didn't interfere with the snake at all, and you have a wrist strap coming out right there. Now you just simply come up to the end here. I'm going to go and make a slip knot. There's a slip knot in that right there, and you see it's a slip knot because it slips up and down here, and you just go around again and tie you another knot, and that makes what we call, better known as a half hitch. You'll go under that again. You do that as many times as you want. It's just going to compound that half hitch. Now pull that tight. Use up the rest of your paracord here, and that's going to leave you just kind of a lovely little knot there. And I am going to mess with it. You see how that frays out on the end again. So you want to cut that off. To prevent that from ever happening again, you light your, it can be done as I said before, with a cigarette lighter, anything. And I just make sure all the thread is kind of burned off of it. Now that won't go anywhere. I'll use a little dab of CA glue that comes out, and that knot won't come out now. And I go out, see that's about 1 inch, so I'll go out about 3 inches. This is a little decorative thing for me. Anyway, I'll cut that off. I don't leave it great long like that. Then I take the burner again, and I burn that off. That won't get frayed now. So let's get the camera turned around here and take a good look at this stick. I guess we've finished our Cobra Walking Stick. Here's what it looks like. It has a cobra up in a striking position there. I saw a cobra, live cobra, and it had a lot of blue under its wings here. That's what I call it. Spread out ready to strike when they go into defense mode. It has some eyes right there that you can see if I hold it right. And there it is, wrapped around the stick. You saw the whole process. You saw how I put the wrist strap on it. I think it turned out quite nice here. We put a yellowish golden sphere on the end of it. And I think that goes well with this young cobra on here. It's totally coated with epoxy resin, and I know from experiment and from prior test that you can handle these things. People think it's hard resin, it'll crack. It don't. That's all there is to it. That's the reason it's possible to use a rubber snake on a stick, and you cover it with that resin if you want to. I guess you wouldn't have to cover it with resin, but I think it looks very lifelike when you do. Snakes are brilliant, and there is your Cobra snake. If you like this video, you can give me a thumbs up, and be sure you're subscribed if you're going to use the secret word that I left back there in this video somewhere for my 10,000 subscriber giveaway. This is the video that I announced that, and I announced it back somewhere in the video, and I gave you a word to use in a comment. So use that word in a comment and get yourself subscribed to the channel, which is part of what's needed to be eligible for this walking stick giveaway. I use YouTube's software to do that. The software looks for any comment with that word in it, and it pops up, separates it, and that's the winner, who wins the choice of between 5 of these walking sticks. And the drawing is actually going to be next Saturday at 4 o'clock. I'll put a video up there just of the screen print and the drawing as it happens. Tune in next Saturday at 4 o'clock, see if your name, see if you won anything. I do that because it gives all my subscribers, it gives them a whole week to get their name in a hat. Appreciate all my subscribers and appreciate the help from everyone that got me to this 10,000 subscriber milestone. And much appreciated, and appreciate every one of you. So that's why I'm giving this walking stick to some lucky winner. Appreciate your prayers that you all sent for my wife. She's dealing with lung cancer, and we appreciate every one of your prayers. With that, I'm going to say I'll see you in the next video.